up, guys? My name is Allie. I was on a game show called Destination X, and this is Hollywood Junket.
Awesome. You're a natural. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll get right into it. Don't want to take up too much of your time. We saw the last episode last night, and there were a lot of twists and turns in it. My first question is, what comments or strategies from some of the other players that you've seen in the episodes have surprised you the most? Like whether that be in confessional or just something you've seen rewatching the episodes.
I didn't know that Biggy put his daggers on Shayne or I. I guess if I had sat and done the math, that I could have figured it out. Um, but I absolutely didn't expect him to put a dagger on Shayne. That seemed a little dangerous. It felt like he could have ended up putting Shayne in the map room. So that was pretty shocking to see, especially because I'm friends with Biggy. And he never told me this. Maybe he assumes that I knew, but yeah, I had no idea. So that was super shocking. I didn't realize people were so caught up with splitting up the showmance. I feel like in this kind of show, a showmance isn't nearly as threatening because there's no voting involved. In Survivor and Big Brother, there's like voting involved, right? Is there voting in Big Brother? At the end there is, right? With the winners, you vote for the winner or something like that.
I think so.
Either way, a lot of these shows have a voting element. So in Destination X, you're more worried about your geographical knowledge, right? So I didn't realize Rick or Biggie or Peter would care so much about the showmance when I felt like Shayne and I knew the least about individual cities in Europe. So I felt like we were definitely not as big of a threat in geography, but I do think maybe Rick was kind of figuring out that I had strengths in other areas as I continued to do well throughout the season. So maybe he wanted to split up the showmance for that reason.
Yeah, we've heard it time and time again in confessionals or just, on the show that the showmance, they wanted you guys apart. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness. Yeah, it was a big threat as we could see. And speaking of the showmance, have you talked to Shayne since your exit? If you can tell us, are you guys still together? Any word on that?
Yeah, I mean, I have an unread text from Shayne right now. We talk probably like every other day. We are not together. I did break up with him about 2 months after the show. We just had not aligning schedules. I'm all over the place all the time. And I think originally I thought that he was going to be able to have that kind of freedom to kind of come around and see me and travel places with me. But he had a pretty stable job in Indiana that he had to stay in Indianapolis for. So yeah, it didn't end up making a lot of sense, but we're really good friends and he's one of my biggest supporters. So yeah, I'm really happy to have him in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. That's totally understandable. And I think it's so awesome how you get cl really close to somebody, especially being on that bus. You guys were alliances and really good friends overall. What was it like though, if you could kind of give us any insight on dating on the bus? Was it a little chaotic? Was it fun? Tell us.
It was so fun. I mean, in my perspective, living life, I didn't know what all of my busmates were saying about the showman. So I was just living my best life. I thought this is the best thing ever. I have this sweet guy that I'm dating. And by the way, I'm drinking Powerade, so my tongue is blue. But I mean, I thought it was just such a blast. And I don't think that the close quarters of the bus made it any more difficult to have a showmance. If anything, I felt like it made it make more sense. You have so many showmances in other shows where you're in close quarters, and people have never been in quarters this close. Like a bus is very tiny. So I think it was very natural that we just came together. We had a lot in common, and he was a very honest and loyal person, and I loved that about him.
Absolutely. You both seem like very genuine and kind people. So it's always good to see when two genuine people link up. And then speaking of I went on your Instagram and I love the post you made about Ty. Just that was really beautiful. But speaking of Ty, when Ty kind of lied about meeting Janae, was that ultimately what kind of broke the alliance in the moment between you guys, or what are your thoughts on that?
No, I didn't care about the Janae lie. Shayne had also lied about it. They were instructed not to talk about it by production. So I couldn't stay mad at either of them for that. I think what broke the alliance was Biggie figuring out that Ty was leaking information to Peter. So it didn't have anything to do with her lying about Janae. I mean, I think that that was a silly move, but I would have stayed in an alliance with her had she not leaked information to Peter.
Yeah, absolutely. And during the Dagger challenge, were you surprised that it was Peter who gave Biggie two daggers?
No, I think that makes sense. I think that was smart of Peter. I think that he technically should have given Biggie all of his daggers. Biggie was a big threat. Biggie studied for a very long time and very intensely facts about European countries. That the type of studying that Shayne and I did not do. So I think that Peter giving Biggie two daggers was actually a strategic move. It didn't work out. But it's crazy that those were the only daggers Biggie got. I stayed loyal to Biggie. Maybe I should have given him daggers, but whatever.
What was going through your mind when you guys were flipping the cards over? I can only imagine I would have been a nervous wreck, but
I think I wasn't that nervous. I was pretty confident in knowing most of them. I didn't know what the urinating baby was. But I was going against an alliance and I knew that. So at that point, I was pretty calm because I figured that they would work together to get me to go home.
and at the beginning of the season, we also saw that you ladies had an alliance, build some strong bonds and friendships. Now that there are men left, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it's sad. I definitely think there are a lot of women on the bus, if not all of us, who could have made it to the very end. And I think it's gonna be crazy to watch the testosterone running rampant in the bus. You
I
can
love
already
that
see in the
call.
last couple episodes, all the boys are grunting and like having big reactions, and it's like, whoa.
And what projects do you have coming up next? Where can we find you on Instagram, on YouTube? I saw you did kind of an episode on your YouTube with Kim and Mac, I believe.
We did, yeah. We have a series called Under the Covers, and then Mac and I have a second series called Where the F Are We? It's on my YouTube channel, Ali Bros, and we do a ton of videos together, but we're doing videos with everyone from the cast, so.
That's amazing. Well, we can't wait to tune in. Allie, thank you so much for your time, and I loved your gameplay throughout the season. So
Oh, thank
we'll
you
be
so
seeing
much.
more of you, I'm sure.
I
Absolutely.
hope so.
Yeah, I'm
Thanks.
sure. You have a good one, Allie. Thank you. Thank you,
Bye.
guys.
Thank you.